Hello, in this tutorial, we're going to look at one of the most important features inside Waikay, prompt tracking. Prompt tracking helps you monitor how often your brand appears in AI-generated answers across models like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, and more. In other words, it helps you answer a simple but very important question. When people ask AI tools for recommendations in your market, does your brand show up? Or do your competitors get mentioned instead? And more importantly, Waikay helps you understand why that happens, which topics you're associated with, which competitors are dominating, and where your brand can improve. For this tutorial, we'll use a project set up for ClickUp.com. ClickUp is a popular productivity and project management platform used by teams to manage tasks, documents, workflows, goals, dashboards, and collaboration in one place. So it's a great example because it operates in a very competitive market, with brands like Asana, Monday.com, Rike, Smartsheet, Miro, and others. To access the prompt tracking feature inside Waikay, go to the left-hand menu and click on Prompt Tracking. Once you enter this section for the first time, Waikay will show you suggestions of prompts you might want to monitor for your business. Instead of guessing what people might ask AI tools, Waikay can generate prompt ideas based on the topics of your website. Here, we can see a list of prompt ideas related to ClickUp's market and website topics. For example, Waikay suggests prompts such as, what platforms offer AI-powered chat and automation features for workplace efficiency? Or, which project management platforms include built-in document collaboration features? These are exactly the types of questions a potential customer might ask an AI assistant when comparing tools. They're not searching for ClickUp directly. They're asking broader commercial questions, such as, what is the best tool for project management? What software helps teams collaborate? What platform includes automation, documents, dashboards, and task management? And this is the key idea behind prompt tracking. You're not only tracking your brand name, you're tracking the market conversations where your brand should appear. If ClickUp is not mentioned when people ask about project management, team collaboration, workflow automation, or document collaboration, then that's a visibility gap. If you want to track your AI visibility for any of these prompt ideas, simply select the AI models you want to monitor. You'll notice that Waikay separates the options into two categories: API models and scraped models. API models are better for controlled and repeatable measurement. They allow you to track prompts in a more consistent environment, which is ideal when you want reliable trend data over time. Scraped models, on the other hand, are better for observing what the real user-facing experience may look like in an AI interface. They can be very useful because they reflect what users might actually see when interacting with a model through its public interface. However, there is one important difference. Scraped models are usually much less expensive in terms of credits, but they are also less reliable. Their outputs can be influenced by things like cache, previous browsing history, personalization, or even IP location. So, in simple terms, use API tracking when you want more controlled measurement. Use scrape tracking when you want to observe the real-world interface experience, while keeping in mind that the results may fluctuate more. Once you've selected the models, you can then choose the tracking frequency. The tool provides three options here: daily tracking, 2 days tracking, and weekly tracking. Now, if you don't want to use one of the suggested prompt ideas, you can also add your own prompt manually. To do that, click on New Prompt. From here, you can enter the exact prompt you want to track. For example, you might add something like, what are the best project management tools for remote teams? Or, which software is best for managing tasks, documents, and team collaboration? Then choose the AI models you want to track, either in API mode or scrape mode, and select your tracking frequency. Once saved, Waikay will start monitoring that prompt and collecting data over time. Now let's go to the prompt tracking dashboard for ClickUp. Here, we can see the prompts that are already being tracked, along with several key metrics. For each prompt, Waikay shows the total number of mentions of ClickUp across the selected AI models. You can also see the trend, which tells you whether mentions are increasing or decreasing compared to the previous period. And on the right, Waikay breaks down the number of mentions by each selected AI model. So instead of only knowing whether ClickUp appears overall, you can see which models are mentioning ClickUp more often, and which models may be underrepresenting it. This is really important because AI visibility is not the same across every model. A brand may perform very well in Claude, but less strongly in ChatGPT. Or it may appear frequently in Gemini, but not in Sonar or other models. Waikay helps you identify those differences clearly. You can also change the time window and display the data for the last 7 days, the last 2 weeks, or the last month. That gives you a simple way to monitor whether your visibility is improving, declining, or staying stable. On the right-hand side, you'll see the AI share of voice section. This section shows your AI share of voice across all tracked prompts compared to your competitors. This metric is calculated as follows: your brand mentions divided by all brand mentions, the whole multiplied by 100. So, if ClickUp is mentioned more often than its competitors across the selected prompts and AI models, it will have a higher AI share of voice. In this example, we can see that ClickUp has the highest share of mentions, with 10.3%. This means that, across the prompts being tracked, ClickUp is currently the most visible brand in AI-generated answers, compared to the other competitors listed. But share of voice is only one part of the picture. It tells us how often a brand is mentioned, but not necessarily what topics the brand is associated with. That's where the next sections become very useful. Just below the AI share of voice section, Waikay shows the average visibility in each selected AI model. Here we can compare how ClickUp performs across models like Gemini, ChatGPT, Sonar, and Claude. This gives you a model-by-model breakdown of your visibility. For example, if ClickUp is highly visible in Claude and Sonar, but less visible in ChatGPT, that tells you where the gap is. And that's powerful because different audiences may use different AI tools. Your goal is not just to be visible in one model. Your goal is to build consistent visibility across the AI ecosystem. Next to this, we can see the visibility trends by AI model chart. This shows how your AI visibility is changing over time for each selected model. The trend depends on your tracking frequency. So if you're tracking prompts daily, you can monitor daily changes. If you're tracking weekly, you'll see broader weekly movements. This is especially useful after making improvements to your content, getting mentioned on third-party websites, improving your topical coverage, or updating your brand positioning. Over time, you can start to see whether those actions are actually improving your visibility in AI responses. Now, if we scroll down, we'll find one of the most valuable sections, AI Topical Presence. This chart shows the topics that AI models associate with your brand and your competitors. This is not just a visibility chart. It's a diagnostic tool. It tells you with reasonable precision where your brand sits in the AI's model of your market. In other words, what does AI think your brand is relevant for? Which topics does it strongly connect you with? And where are your competitors stronger? For example, if ClickUp has strong topical presence around project, task, and management, that's a good sign. But if a competitor is stronger around collaboration, automation, or time tracking, that may reveal a content or positioning gap. This helps you move from simply saying, "We need more AI visibility," to knowing exactly which topics you need to strengthen. Just below that, we have the AI competitive map. This combines two important metrics: AI share of voice and AI topical presence. Together, these help you instantly see who the leaders are in your market based on the prompts you're tracking. In this example, ClickUp is clearly positioned as a leader, with a 10.32% share of voice and an AI topical presence score of 89.8. That means ClickUp is not only being mentioned often, but it is also strongly associated with the relevant topics in its market. Competitors like Monday.com, Asana, Reich, and others are also visible, but ClickUp is positioned ahead in this example. The map helps you quickly understand the competitive landscape. Who are the leaders? Who has strong topic associations but lower visibility? Who is emerging and who has a weak presence overall? This gives marketing and SEO teams a much clearer view of how AI models understand their market. Finally, at the bottom of the prompt tracking dashboard, you'll find the sources section. This section shows the websites and web pages cited by AI models for your tracked prompts. The sources are ranked from top to bottom based on how often they are cited. This is extremely useful because AI visibility is not only influenced by what you say on your own website. It is also influenced by what trusted third-party websites say about you. So if AI models are often citing certain listicles, review pages, comparison articles, directories, or industry websites, those pages may be important visibility opportunities. The sources section helps you identify where you may need to create or strengthen brand mentions. For example, if a third-party article about best project management tools is frequently cited by AI models, but your brand is not included, that may be a perfect outreach opportunity. Getting mentioned in the right third-party sources can increase your chances of being recommended more often in AI-generated answers. So, to quickly recap, Waikay's prompt tracking feature helps you monitor how your brand appears across AI-generated answers. You can use Waikay's suggested prompt ideas or manually add your own prompts. You can track visibility across API models for more controlled measurement, or scraped models to observe more real-world user-facing experiences. Inside the dashboard, you can monitor your brand mentions, trends, AI share of voice, visibility by model, topical associations, competitive positioning, and cited sources. And together, all of this gives you a much clearer picture of how AI models understand your brand, where your competitors are winning, and what actions you can take to improve your AI visibility. That's the real value of prompt tracking in Waikay. It doesn't just tell you whether your brand appears. It helps you understand where you stand and what to do next. Thanks for watching.